I'm not too big on this whole rumour of Tennant actually being the 14th Doctor. I have nothing
Yeah.
against him coming back, reprising the role, even being like an alternate Doctor or whatever Russell does. I just don't want the next Doctor after Jodie to not just to be like just another white guy, but be like a previous white
Mm.
guy, which would technically then also be like the same incarnation, like 4 bodies later. That's
Yeah.
essentially that would also be 3 regens, all used up
Of
by David
10.
Tennant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
just like
would.
when you break it down, I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the one thing about it. Like, obviously, we don't know how it's going to officially be done. Like, there might be a workaround that, like, we're not aware of yet. Like, because it is just based on, like, leaks and stuff. And the leaks are pretty credible.
I think it's just because they've all come from this one leak, like right
Yeah.
down to naming specific characters, and
Yeah.
it does almost feel like, yeah, this is pretty much
I do
confirmed at
get
this
that it
point.
might feel a bit fanficky in the sense of, like,
That's what, yeah, that's
Doctors
that's
are
what I
David
thought. Yeah,
Tennant. Like, yeah. At the same time, for me, I don't see it as big as big of an issue, but for a couple of reasons. As I said, we have Shooty now, so for me, it's
yeah.
still a case of they're still moving forward after
I
this.
feel like it's that thing of me going, yeah, okay, the next Doctor. No, well, not even the next Doctor. Yeah, we have this Doctor like a few down the line. We're just going to do this first, though. I
Yeah.
feel like they've almost announced Shooty. Just put a dampener on the possibilities of Tennant being 14.
Well, I would say like you're saying in the sense of
Yeah, because I feel like if we didn't know about Shooty,
yeah, no, I agree.
and this whole thing was going ahead, then
Yeah, if we just
yeah,
knew about
yeah,
Tennant
there'd
coming
be a
back,
lot more of an uproar
yeah,
about that.
if we just knew about Tennant coming back as a new incarnation, people would be like, "What the fuck? You're just going directly back again."
But I mean, they still are doing that, and I mean, even if Tennant is only sticking around for like a couple of specials, maybe even just the one special,
Mm.
they are kind of doing that, like
Yeah.
regardless of how long it'll be. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels weird to me.
Well, we don't know if we don't. Obviously, I think it's looking likely now, given the fact that obviously we'll talk about filming in a bit more depth, but we've seen
Yeah.
he's with 13's TARDIS in like exterior, it's
Yeah.
13's box, as well as the fact that his costume is different as well. Cause
The shooting stuff all looks really cool.
it does look
Like
really
his
cool.
costume
It looks sick. Yeah, no, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that in more depth because I want to talk about the differences in the costume and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, obviously, I know people have said separate your like looking at it from a marketing perspective and as a fan. As a fan, I get the concerns. I don't have them as much because it is a temporary thing. Like it's not.
It's that thing of like I'm excited to see it, but even if it is a temporary thing, it just annoys me. Like
I think-
even if we do say like, oh, but it's just one of these hidden incarnations that doesn't really count. That annoys me too. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's just like having the list thing, but
Possibly.
this is another extra bonus Doctor.
I think
Stop with the
um,
extra bonus Doctors.
I think yeah, I do agree with that. But I think for me as well, what lessens my feeling slightly that this is a complete step back is that it is for an anniversary, and
Yeah.
doing stuff like this for anniversaries you can kind of get away with. Like,
I wouldn't mind if it was something like maybe the regeneration's going a bit wrong.
Well, it
Maybe the
might be
Doctor
that.
like fluctuates through like past bodies or something.
well, we
that
don't.
could be
well,
kind of
that
cool.
might be the case. I have seen rumors that. Cause you know how there've been rumors of classic Doctors making like little cameos in the centenary.
Yeah.
That might be what happens, where Jodie will just like morph into Sylvester McCoy all of a sudden, and then Peter Davison, and then it'll eventually land on Tennant, and that's where we pick up the
Do
three.
you see
specials.
Jodie being in this?
What in the 60th?
Yeah.
No.
Because obviously, yeah, same. Because obviously we know she's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's probably like having a break from the role. That was another thing that I was thinking. Like, are we even going to see the regeneration?
I hope we do. Then again, would it look odd? Like,
It's that thing of like, who is she going to regenerate into? Like, will it be 10?
I think that the rumor at the moment is
Will
that
it be-
that's what it'll be, but
Or will series like 13? No, not 13. Will the centenary just end?
perhaps there
Like,
are.
like in a weird sort of vague way, and then we'll start this new year.
Here's an idea that I haven't thought of. Maybe there are two regenerations. Maybe there is a regeneration from Jodie into Tennant, but there's also a regeneration from Jodie into Shooty. And like one of them is like a divergent timeline that's gone wrong for some reason, and the thing we follow along the specials is trying to get the timeline back on track. So you can kind of do like a sort of little, like a comic book Elseworlds type event without running the risk of messing up the numbering and that sort of thing. Maybe that's how they'll do it.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that.
Because then you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can have David come, like, regenerate from Jodie into the Tennant again, but you could also have the Jodie into Shooty. So that way, it doesn't really feel as much like this is a step back, rather a side step. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than a step
because I
backwards.
think another problem that I had with it as well is, okay, so the Doctor regenerates into David Tennant, and then the first special with them sees David Tennant's Doctor meeting up with previous companions that travelled with David Tennant's Doctor.
Yeah.
I just feel like, really,
unless he
it
like
does
lose,
just feel like they're just...
like he loses his memory or something and ends up like maybe he thinks he's the 10th Doctor again because like why else am I looking like this? I don't know.
Well that's the thing. I like tweeted out like from like the leaks and stuff we've seen. He is just playing it like the 10th Doctor, like down to the costume. Sure, it's a variation, but it does just kind of feel like the 10th Doctor, but later down the line.
Yeah, another thing I've seen posited is that they're doing the Dark Dimension thing of 10 never regenerated in this timeline. So,
that'd be cool.
Like, that's why he looks older, that's why the costume's different, that's why he has Jodie's TARDIS, because assumedly, you know...
That would kind of be sick, actually.
He'd keep changing the interior if he kept being the Doctor. That'd be quite cool. And the thing is, we don't know that's not happening yet, which is why as well I think I'm a little less...
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to go too hard because
we
don't
know.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where I'm not even that upset by the rumor if it is true. I kind of do get it, but it's not like... I think for me, as I said, I am just a bit more optimistic because I know that we're getting something else afterwards. And I know that like for some people it still could be considered as a backstep, but it's like, I don't mind a one-off backstep if it not only benefits the show, but I also really want to see it. It's like...
It's weird, yeah,
For
I'm
me,
in like two
win-win.
minds, because it's like, I do really want to see this. This is my Doctor, my era, essentially, all coming back together.
Yeah.
Like, my childhood era. So it's like, yeah, of course I want to see it. But at the same time, part of me's, like, at war with the other half.
Yeah, you're sort of adult
me's like,
brain.
but it's dumb.
Yeah, but
And
then child me's like, oh my god, David
like,
Tennant's walking around in the suit. What?
Yeah.
Catherine Tate,
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
cribbins, all of
exactly.
this. It's like, yeah.